Welcome on in, everyone. We are back, the Not From Philly podcast. We've been off for a couple of weeks now, but me and Justin, we're back. We're ready. We're refreshed, and it's never a quiet day in Philly sports. And the Eagles' schedules come out. We've got the Tush Push. It's been saved. It's coming back for another year, and I don't think they should vote on it next year. So we're back. We're ready to go. Just how we feeling, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm finding frog hair split three ways, buddy. I got a long weekend ahead of me. I took off. It's Thursday. I unfortunately I've had to start working five days a week, 10, 12 hours a day, but I took off today, so I'm not working. I'm not going back till next Tuesday. I'm ready
Ah,
for a long weekend, just sit back,
that's nice.
chill, mow my yard here after a while. Mowing is like one of the most peaceful things on earth to me. I don't like weed eating. That's what I have Owen for, to do the trimming. So
Yeah.
that's what my 19-year-old kid's for. Make him do the hard part. I just get on my mower, man, mow that acre and a half, 2 acres, listen to music, listen to pod.
Oh,
It's just, buddy, it just chills me out every time. But
you got like a little John Deere
I,
driving tractor or something, is it?
it's a Cub Cadet mower, but yeah, my dad, he's got a small John Deere tractor that we got to do some heavy mowing with and stuff like that. But
Wow.
anyway, it's just like zen for me. That just like chills
Yeah.
me out, just riding around
That
on the
sounds
mower.
that
But
sounds like a good country music video right there. That sitting on a mower,
yeah,
beer in the hand,
yeah,
good country song.
fat boy riding on his lawnmower.
No, that's the dream. I mean, I've never been a big fan of mowing. I've had to do it in the past for my parents and stuff. And but my backyard is all concrete, so it's and then there's fields in the back, but they're not my fields, so it's
Yeah.
I don't have to mow it. So yeah,
Well, I've been blessed with what land I've got. So I mean, I just like getting on
yeah,
my mower, chilling out, like I said, listening to music, listening to pods, and
yeah.
forget about all
Oh,
my
man.
worries. So, but
Every
anyway,
every time you call up WIP and you say, I'm out here on the porch,
yeah,
just chilling. I'm like, over in the UK, we don't have like porches like you do in America. It's just like there's the front door and there's a step, and
yeah,
that's it. You just gotta hope you have like a nice, good sized backyard so you can like
yeah.
chill in and so that's what I do. Sometimes I go chill in the backyard, but I'd love to have a front porch like that and the decking and stuff.
Eh,
That's like awesome. I'd love that.
It's
But
it's good
yeah.
stuff, man. I love it. Actually, that's something else I got to do this weekend is clean the front porch off, get the pressure washer out, and spray
Oh
it down,
yeah,
clean it up good. But
yeah.
anyway,
I had the pressure washer out a few weeks ago. That's one thing I hate doing. I hate doing
yeah.
the pressure washer. It's yeah. So yeah, it's a long weekend for myself as well. So it's
Oh, it's your birthday weekend too, right?
yeah. My birthday tomorrow. I'm 34 tomorrow.
Happy
So
birthday, brother.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
I share birthday with Herb from the Northeast. Can you
Oh,
believe that?
really?
Yeah. What a legend to share a birthday with, huh?
That's phenomenal. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So
What
shout out
day
to
is it
Herb as
exactly?
well.
Tomorrow?
Sorry?
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
Good deal, man.
Thank you,
Awesome.
mate. So yeah, got a nice long weekend and do some things with the kids and have a bit of relaxing and maybe have a beer or two and watch the Phillies when I get a chance. So
Oh,
yeah, it's
man.
gonna be good.
You can't
Yeah.
beat that with a rubber hammer.
No, you can't. You can't beat out the noise. Certainly can't. So just let's get into it. I mean, the NFL have been trying their damnedest to
Yep.
outlaw the tush push. It was evident on the Super Bowl trophy ceremony. You could see the look on Roger Goodell's face when Jeffrey Lurie was lifting that Lombardi trophy. He didn't have that in his plan. You could tell that they were hoping for the Chiefs dynasty thing to be complete. The Chiefs have got that documentary series coming out, and some sort of dynasty series. And I can't wait to like watch the final episode when the Eagles spoil the party for the Chiefs. It's going to be great. So
Oh,
they've been trying to do away with the touch push for the last couple of years now, since 2022, and it's. I personally I'm happy it's here because it's a great play. It's inventive. For me over here in Wales, rugby is a big thing over here.
yeah.
Rugby, soccer, they're the two main sports you grew up on, And in Wales, rugby is more the number one thing. And I love Joe DeCamera but like, and all these other critics that come out there and they say they always keep comparing it to a rugby play. I mean, I don't know how many times Jordan Mailata has to go on a podcast or an interview and say it's not a rugby play. He played rugby in Australia. It's not a rugby scrum looks completely different to the tush push. The lineup, for starters, the tush push, the O line and the D line, they're not connected to each other whatsoever. The push comes after the ball is snapped. Well, in rugby, the scrum, you connect it from the start. The ball is rolled underneath the scrum, and you have to stay up. You have to slightly push against each other and make sure the ball comes out correctly. And if it collapses, then it's dead, and then you go back to playing the game. So it's completely different movement, completely different sequence. The way it's designed is completely different. So it's just like, all these coaches that have come out there and say it's a rugby play, it's just like, well, no, that's the easy excuse to come up with to outlawing it. So it's here to stay. Jason Kelsey came in at the last hour. Jeffrey Lurie made a fantastic, from what we've heard, like nearly an hour-long sort of speech defending it with evidence, and it was straight off the cuff. Apparently he didn't prepare anything. He just went
Yeah.
out there and he just let his emotions out. And I mean, that's why we love Jeffrey Lurie so much, because
Yeah.
he's so, he could be there, not wanting to make a lot of enemies. These owners meetings, you tend to sort of like, I imagine you don't, everything is quite, friendly, I suppose, to a certain degree. You meet them with each other, just going over the things, and then you all go away. But no, he went in there yesterday. He didn't care if it pissed anyone off, because he wanted to defend the Eagles. And I heard, like, at the end of the play, he said something along the lines of, we've got 2 Super Bowl trophies. I don't have to come in here and defend this play. I could just walk away. But you know what? I want to defend it, and it's helped us get a second Super Bowl trophy. So that's it. So yeah. So just how are you feeling about the tush push? Are you glad that it's here to stay, or would you been okay if it went?
I'm glad that it's here to stay. I would have been okay if they would have banned it, because that would have just been more fuel for the fire for the Eagles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it's here to stay, because even though I mean, people say it's unstoppable. The one team that has shown they can stop it has been the Bucks, and then they drafted the guy out of Florida that you wanted us to maybe pick up in the 7th round. I think they signed him as a free agent, to be honest with you, like 400-pound cat from
Yeah.
Florida. And I mean, they were stopping it with just Vita Vea lined up over
Yeah.
Cam Jurgens or Jason Kelsey, and the rest. So I mean, it's not totally unstoppable, but
No.
you it's low man wins, basically, in a situation like that. And I just don't like the fact that you 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 have a play that, okay, let's say it's successful 95% of the time. That means it's not unstoppable. But we do know, for the most part, if it's 4th and 1, we're going to get it 98% of the
Yeah.
time. You can't just outlaw it, though. You can't. It's like Jeffrey Lurie said in his impassioned speech we've heard about. Just because there's a play that's like that doesn't mean it should be banned. It means the other teams, the other defenses should be working that much harder to try to figure something out to try to stop it. We saw that in the Super Bowl, where Chris Jones, instead of lining up head on, he turned to the side,
Yeah.
trying to do something, trying to do anything. I mean, at least he tried something, in my opinion. And we heard Dan Campbell say yesterday, and like when they voted to not ban the Lions, he said, it's not their place. It's not our place to get rid of a play that is deemed unstoppable. It's our job to try to stop that play.
Mm.
I respect that. Dan Campbell is a football guy. Like a lot of,
Yeah.
I kind of laughed when he was hired. Biting off kneecaps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, my God, Lions are going to line. Lions are a really good football team now because of Dan Campbell and the toughness and mentality he's brought to that team and organization. And I just like the way he talked about it. And then talking about Jeffrey Lurie and how he went in and defended the tush push with his speech and everything. I just read this morning, I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not, but like the owner of the 49ers, or the
Yeah.
GM or something,
Just seen it.
yeah, made a comment of like, how much more of this shit do we got to hear?
Yeah,
I'd be like, well, if it was your play, and we were trying to ban it, how much shit would we have to hear from you
yeah,
griping about it?
yeah,
You know, listen, he's a two-time Super Bowl winner. He's one of the best owners in the league. He has every right to stand there and filibuster as long as he needs to for his team, his coach. Is what it is. And then, Kelsey came in at the last minute. There were rumors that, oh, he retired because of this play. He didn't retire because of that play. He
no,
retired probably because he's making more money now as an analyst and making commercials and everything else than he
yeah,
did as a player. It was a no-brainer for him. I wish he would have stayed, but I mean, we ain't missed a beat when Cam Durgan slid
no,
over into that center position. So I
no,
mean, Jason Kelsey is one of my all-time favorite Eagles, and it killed me when he retired. But I mean, we like I said, we didn't miss a beat with Cam Jurgens, so Kelsey didn't even have to do that. He if Mr. Lurie asked him, hey, will you come in and talk to him? He could have said, I'd like to, Jeff, but I really just don't feel like it's my place. No, he did that because he believed it. I don't think Jason would be just doing it for shits and giggles or something like that. I
yeah,
think he did it because he knows it's a good play, and it's up to opposing defenses. If you want to stop it, you got to stop it. And the Bucks have stopped it. They've
yeah.
probably, like I
The
said,
Jags, they stopped it as
the
well.
the Jags stopped it. Now this morning on Good Morning Football, they had Chris Harris, former cornerback, on there, and he was talking about when he was with the Saints that they stopped it. But when they stopped it, it was Gardner Minshew running the tush push.
Yeah,
So, and then Kyle Brandt called him out. He said, "So, yeah, you may have stopped it, but you stopped it with Gardner Minshew running it,
mm,
not Jalen Hurts. So, I mean,
yeah,
let's this ain't apples to apples here." But
yeah,
yeah, I'm glad it's here to stay, and I hope. And one more thing, the one team that voted to ban it that we have to play this year is Green Bay, and we play them this year, primetime football. I hope if we're winning the game instead of taking a knee, I hope we run the tush push to end it, to ice it, just
yeah.
to shove it in their face.
Yeah, that game, that game is going to be huge.
Yeah,
That's going to get a lot of ratings and stuff because there's going to be so much, talk going up to it. Because the Packers are going to be motivated
yeah,
because we, us as fans, we're giving them crap at the moment the whole time. Really, you know what I mean? Calling their coach out, calling them out. The owners out for being cowards for trying to get this banned. So they are going to be motivated for that game. But you know what? So we've got them.
yep,
The good thing about that game now is that it's coming off the bye week, and the Eagles are going to be up for that game all week more than they maybe would have because you're going into Lambeau Field. You've got that thing in your head now. I suppose maybe the players won't maybe 100% be thinking like we are thinking maybe you know what I mean, because I
yeah,
suppose as fans we are just being a bit more petty about it, but
yes,
they will find some motivation because it's going to be they've got something now. They want to try and stop us doing the tush push. Well, all right, let's find out moments in the game to really emphasize it and ram it down their throats. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that I can't wait for that game on November 10th. This is going to be great. So
It's going to be awesome.
yeah, and the nerve of the, was it the 49ers owner or was it the general manager? I can't remember his name that made that comment to Jeffrey Lurie.
It was one of the two. I can't
One
remember,
or two,
but
yeah.
yeah, I mean
Like,
that's just disrespectful in general, in
you've
my
just
opinion.
paid Brock Purdy all that money, right? You've left a lot of your offensive. All right, you still got George Kittle and you still got Brandon Ayuk, but he's coming back from an injury.
Yes.
And he doesn't always sound like he's a happy camper. And you've let Deebo Samuel go, and it's like, you've paid all that money. You should be focusing on rebuilding. Not giving
Yeah.
all that money to Brock Purdy after, because Brock Purdy had a terrible year last year. I know the year before he took him to the Super Bowl and he was, he had a great passer rating. He was like the highest in the league that year and all that. But he had the same team last year, and there wasn't many injuries from what I remember. I can't remember if they were banged up a lot. But maybe a bit in the beginning, slightly.
Yeah,
They
a
were a little banged
few.
up,
I
but
went
nothing.
down fairly early,
Yeah,
but
but there was enough on that team where they should have been a thing to get back to the Super Bowl. But no, they let the hangover happen to them, and Brock Purdy was terrible, really, for most of the season. And
Yeah.
then you go and give him this massive payday. So it's, good luck. Like, you better hope that we don't play you again anytime soon, because the next time the Eagles play them, it's going to end a lot different to last time they came to Philly. You know what I mean? In 2023, and we let them bully us. So,
I
yeah,
think the 49ers are the luckiest, or I think Lynch and Shanahan are the luckiest cats I've ever seen, because they gave up a king's ransom to trade up to 3 to get Trey Lance that year when they
yeah,
drafted him. And then was it the same year or the next year when they took Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant? Either way, that's when they got Purdy. Either that same year or the next year, they take Purdy with the final pick in the draft. Lance is a bust to be all bust. He's not even in the league anymore. I think
yeah. He's
last
with the
I heard
Cowboys, isn't he?
he was with the Cowboys last year, but I think he might be going to the Canadian League now.
Oh,
Possibly.
man.
Don't hold me to that.
Yeah,
But I mean, if they don't look up with Purdy, in my opinion, both of them are probably out of a job by now.
yeah,
I mean, usually when you fail at making it, when you trade all those assets to get a quarterback, and that quarterback busts the way Lance did, that's usually your job, man. So I
yeah,
mean, I've always said this. I think Purdy is. I think he's a good quarterback. He's not great. I wouldn't have paid him all that money, but hey, that's the going rate for quarterbacks in the NFL
yeah,
now. We
yeah,
all know that. So, speaking on the 49ers, I think they're just lucky, extremely lucky that they found Purdy to do all that with the last 2 years that they had him, but it's uh I hate the 49ers. I always have.
yeah.
So, I
I,
mean,
I hate their guts. I do. I hate their guts. So some other good news in Philly this week. Obviously, our guy Nick Sirianni, he got his well deserved contract extension. And I don't know what the money is at the moment. They haven't really. I don't know if you've seen anything or heard anything, but I haven't. They sort of haven't really.
I,
Yeah.
I've not, but Elliott said it's probably double of what he was making. So it's probably
Mm.
around 15, 16 million is kind of
Yeah.
what Elliott was
Yeah.
saying. And I mean, hey, it's well deserved. Been to
Yeah.
2 Super Bowls, should have won 2 Super Bowls, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think we all believe it ain't the last.
No.
I think we're on to something here, and it's going to be big. It
Yeah.
really is.
This is why I was so thing like going up to the draft, like why it was like so important to try and get the best guys that they could, because
Yeah.
they've got a chance now to really be the big dog in the NFL for the next few years, and you know what I mean, they're in the best position they'll ever be in, and you've got to capitalize on it now. So I'm glad that they've given that to Nick, because he's earned it. All right, people look at Nick Sirianni and they think, oh, he's not Kyle Shanahan or the Chicago Bears new
Ben
head coach,
Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
like this, offensive guru like Sean McVay and blah blah blah. No, he might not be. He does have his hand in the offense. He likes to have his hand in the offense, but I think he's learned not to put his hand in too
Yeah.
much. You know what I mean? He's learned where to pick the right moments, and you saw that with my favorite play of the Super Bowl. I know like Spike and Jack hate it, but I think the dagger is the
Yeah.
I think that was the killing point of the game, because when they threw the dagger, it was into the third quarter, and they had a good lead on the Chiefs, but that sealed the deal then, because what you saw in the fourth quarter, they sort of like didn't take their foot off the gas, but they knew the game was more or less won, and Nick played a big part in making Kellen Moore call that play. You know what I mean? That's what a head
Just
coach
call
does.
it.
Yeah,
Just
just
call it.
call it.
Just
You know
call
what
it.
I mean? It's a fantastic clip, and I can't wait to see it again on the Super Bowl film when that comes out. And
Yeah.
so yeah, Nick he's shown that he's a great player development guy. He knows how to keep these guys motivated. What I love now is that he's gone through a shit time in Philly. You know what I mean? He's gone through a couple of shit times. 2021, when he first
Yeah.
started, we all were like, at that press conference, who the hell is this guy? Like, bumbling on for over an hour and a half,
Yep.
just congratulating everyone he possibly could. And we were like, this can't be the new head coach. We were like, what is Jeffrey and how he's seen in this guy? You know what I mean? And then obviously, they won that first game down in Atlanta, and then but that was a rebuilding year still. You know what I mean? They drafted Devontae Smith, drafted Landon Dickerson, but it was still a lot to rebuild. And then you obviously had the flowers, the roots, and how we grow the flowers. Everyone laughed at that. But then after that speech, they won. I can't
They
remember how many
rallied.
games they won in a row.
I don't know, but they made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He took them to the playoffs. The following year then took them to the Super Bowl with ease. Obviously, the schedule helped, but the teams. What I hate about that I'm going off thing a bit now, but that year, that 2022, when we went to the Super Bowl, everyone was like, it's an easy schedule, it's an easy schedule. But it wasn't really, because you look at how we looked coming off 2021. Okay, we went to the playoffs, but we still needed more work to do. We still needed to get AJ Brown. We still needed, you know what I mean? We still needed to build. And those teams that year that the Eagles played, they were playoff teams the year before. It just happened to be, some of them were, you know what I mean? It happened to be that year then that they turned, they didn't play well, and the Eagles
took a
capitalized,
step back.
and they made it an easy schedule. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? And then 2023, Nick had to go through that downfall after the Buffalo Bills game, you know what I mean? And dealing with the AJ and Jalen controversy and all the rumours and this, that, and the other. And we thought then, Nick is probably going to be gone maybe the following year if we don't have a good start. We were 2-2 at the bye then. And there was all these things. Some people still wanted Nick Sirianni gone. You know what I mean? So he's been through the crap, and he knows how to get players back on side. So it just goes to show that their patience and faith has paid off, because Nick has played a big part in the Eagles' success.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I like the fact, like what you said, we were all doubting him when the hire was made. We were all like, who the hell is this guy? None of us had even heard of him and all this. And then we get the Flowers speech and all that. But the players, it seemed like they rallied around him after that speech. They went on, they made the playoffs his first year. And then, like you said, they go to the Super Bowl, lose in dramatic fashion, and then the next year have a huge start and then fall off, and then come back with the 2-2 stretch this year. But they change everything they're doing with the offense, then they go on a run. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, talking about the schedule, like everybody's saying it was an easy schedule the year that we lost to the Chiefs. You can't help who you play. You only play who they put in front of you. That's all you can do, is play who they give you to play. You don't know if they're going to be any good or not. You don't know if it's going to be a juggernaut team that nobody was looking at like we were in 17, or you don't know if it's going to be like a team that had went to the Super Bowl and fell off a cliff, kind of like the 49ers did. You have no idea. All you can do is play the schedule put in front of you. And if it's rated as an easy schedule, so be it. You take the breaks that are given to you. That's all you can do. And then when you get to that big game, that's when you have to take the biggest break. That's what you have to do. I mean, I don't look at it as like, oh, they played an easy schedule. If you play, okay, say you play the AFC South, yeah, that's a pretty easy division right now. They basically have one playoff team right now, in my opinion, and that's Houston. That's my opinion, though. I don't think the Colts are good. I don't think the Titans are good. I don't think the Jags are good. But when you look at, say, we'll say the AFC North with the Bengals, and not the North, but whatever, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Ravens, that's three really good teams probably.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do, is play the teams that are put in front of you. So yeah, I don't look at it like that.
Yeah, the good thing is now is that, like, no matter what the schedule is now, we've played all the tough teams, all the better teams in the NFL, all the big dogs, like the Chiefs, the Bills, the 49ers, the Steelers when they were good, and we've got the fourth toughest schedule next season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the schedules are going to get harder and harder every year. As long as I'll take, like you said before, if it means we win a Super Bowl, then so be it. If we got to pick a 32 every draft because we've won the Super Bowl, so be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I'll
why we've
take it.
won the Super Bowl, because we've been that good to get there and win it.
Yep.
And that's what they got to keep on proving now every year. Like Jalen is back to work. He's been back to work a long time. AJ Brown, he's dialed in. Devontae, you know what I mean? It seems like a lot of the team are ready to get back to it now. Jordan Mailata, he went on I don't know how many podcasts after the Super Bowl, and he said, yeah, it was great celebrating it. I enjoyed the moment, but now it's like I want to get back there and I want to do it again. You know what I mean? Like that's an incredible mindset to have. It can't be easy. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that mindset, but to me, I wish they would have taken a little more time to enjoy it. And that's just me. That
Yeah,
could be the only time they win. We all see how hard it is. I mean, it took us to 2017 to be able to see a Super Bowl victory, And there's fan bases out there that have never seen one. And quite possibly if you're a Jags fan, I'm sorry, but you're probably never going to see one with that
never. No,
trash owner organization, in my
yeah,
opinion, because of the dumb stuff they make. But I wish they would have enjoyed it more, but I do appreciate the fact that, like, after it was over, you heard AJ and Devontae be like, it just didn't seem fulfilling. It feels like we need to go back and do it again. And same thing with Jalen. I mean, when he was talking the other day, we ain't worried about last year no more. Yeah,
yeah,
we're worried about 25-26 season now. That's what
yeah,
we're on to now. And I'm like, daggone, that's got to be tough. But
yeah,
you've got to have something to drive you too, I guess. You have
yeah.
to have that motivation saying, okay, we did it, but can we do it again?
It seems
Of
like
that,
they've been joking about it a lot on WIP, haven't they? Like
yeah.
Saquon's the only one that seems to have like enjoyed
Saquon
it.
has. I will say
Yeah,
that if anybody has enjoyed winning, it's by George been Saquon, because that guy, every
yeah,
time you see him, he's out and about. But then,
yeah,
like after all that, I think Ike was talking about. He's like, "Ooh, man," he says, "I'm kind of worried about seeing Saquon out there." But then it's like the next week
yeah.
they had video of him in the weight room squatting 600 pounds again. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably time that he's. I think now he's probably getting dialed back in now, and it's been
Yeah,
OTAs and stuff that they seem to all have gone back for that, and so yeah, I think I'm just chuffed for Nick, and I'm glad that we've got him. I know he has his moments and this that and the other, but he's definitely made for Philly. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
yeah, like you said about wanting them to enjoy it more. I sort of wish they did. Like when I was watching the parade, I just wish like Nick had given everyone their
yeah,
flowers. You know what I mean, and Jalen as well. You know what I mean. But I suppose I'm not surprised Jalen's speech was the way that he kept it business. But I was
yeah,
surprised that Nick Sirianni kept it so business minded. You know what I mean. But I guess that's the culture of the team now, and they didn't
yeah.
want to really sway from that even at the parade. You know what I mean. So that's fair enough. But like you said, yeah, like you saw the young guys like Nolan Smith and Quinion enjoying themselves, and I mean, they were drunk as they were so drunk. It was really funny. Like
Uh,
Nolan Smith is running around with a little kid on his
Picking kids up
shoulders.
out of the crowd, yeah, like my papa used to say, them old boys was drunker than Cootie Brown, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh man. That but there we are. Maybe if they do it again, they'll let loose again. Maybe, a bit more next time. Maybe I hope Nick will anyway. But yeah. So obviously another sort of good piece of news for the Eagles as well, depending on how you look on it, how you feel. But like Joe Douglas is back in the building. He's
Yeah,
he's going to be back with Howie Roseman and his team. We don't sort of know what type of role yet. Whether he's going to be like an assistant GM or maybe he'll be more in the head of
I
scouting or
I think
something.
it's in the scouting department.
Yeah,
Don't hold me to that, but I think it's more in the
yeah.
scouting department, maybe the head of scouting or something.
Yeah, that would probably be a good place for him to start at least. He's got a history with the Eagles. He was there a long time.
Yeah,
Uh, he went to the Jets then when he got his opportunity. Like we said before the show, he drafted well for the Jets, but obviously those were picks you couldn't really miss out on. And obviously, Zach Wilson was a bust, unfortunately.
yeah,
He looked good coming out, but but there we are. Some top draft picks don't become what they. It's going to be interesting to see how Travis Hunter looks now. You know what I mean? He's had to go to the Jags. It's not exactly a great organization to go to. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can develop him, and if he, like Corey said, with us before, Corey didn't really rate him that good
I don't.
because he's played in the Big 12. He hasn't played much SEC, and now he's going to be playing the NFL level. So it's going to be interesting to see how him and Shador, if Shador gets any snaps,
There's been
can they crack it?
video. There's been video that came out this week. I wish I would have sent it to you of. I guess it's in their little rookie camp stuff of Travis Hunter running routes, and they are not the sharpest, most crisp routes.
Oh,
Like,
I did see. Yeah, he was like
did you
catching
see?
in the stomach, and
And
yeah,
he was running a curl, but he rounded it off instead of hitting a quick sharp turn on it. He kind of rounded the route off. It's not look good. I know it's just a little rookie mini camp and
yeah,
whatnot, but I'm telling you guys, I I know he said he didn't want to go to a team that didn't want him playing on both sides of the ball and all that. I would make him play corner
I was just about to say the same thing.
and just
Yeah,
go from there. If you wanted to put him in at receiver for 5 to 6 plays a game, like the Cowboys did Dion back in the '90s, okay, fine. But
mm,
he would not be playing, more than 5, 6 snaps a game on offense.
yeah,
I just do not think he's going to be. I think if he really concentrated on corner, he could probably be a top 4 or 5 corner in the league.
yeah,
I just don't think he's got it at receiver because when you're like what you were alluding to, what Corey said in our draft talk, playing in the Big 12 and then playing the non-conference schedule that they had and playing a Jackson State or whatever small college it was they started out at, that ain't the SEC, that ain't the Big 10, and that ain't the NFL. You're
no,
playing some. There are some guys at those levels that do make the NFL. No knock on
yeah,
those schools, but it is not the consistent top quality competition that you see in the SEC and the Big Ten. It just ain't.
yeah,
And I mean, I, I, I couldn't believe that the Jags gave up what they did to get him. It was utterly shocking. Like and then like to see some of the draft reactions, like to when that trade went down, people were like, "Oh, no wonder they didn't want to trade with us."
yeah,
Yeah, I'd have taken the Jags offer too.
yeah.
I just, excuse me, I just wouldn't have
They're
done it.
that type of team that are just they're so desperate now to
Yeah,
start getting better. You know what I mean? They got the new head coach. They've did they fire the GM?
yeah.
I think they
They
did the as
fired the
well.
GM like a month after they fired the coach. It's just
Yeah,
like such a dysfunctional
yeah,
organization, man. Oh,
yeah.
it's atrocious.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Travis Hunter. Maybe they give him a bit of a trial period during the preseason, but then do you even play him at all in the preseason because he's got so much talk behind him and so much praise and so it's like
Maybe.
do you take that risk? I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna see what he looks like playing both positions, it's got to be the preseason, and then
Yeah,
whatever if he looks better at corner, then you got to be say to him, yeah, look, you're gonna be corner for this first year. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's it. But time will tell. Time will tell. So what I want to do now just is obviously we got a fourth place schedule this year,
yeah.
so we'll go through the schedule now, and then we'll both sort of like give our early season predictions. Obviously, we're probably going to be wrong about a lot of our predictions because you don't know, you don't know what's going to happen in this season. It's a long time till September, but then it probably isn't because time goes so flaming quick these days. But there we are. We'll give our early sort of predictions. So I'll go through the schedule first, and then we'll go through the wins and losses. So as we all know, week 1 is the Cowboys coming to town for the kickoff, Thursday night football. Then we got week 2 at the Chiefs. Week 3 at the Rams. Week 4, the Bucks. Week 5, the Broncos. Week 6, the Giants. Week 7, the Vikings. Week 8, the Giants again. Then it's the bye week on week 9. Week 10, we got the Packers. Week 11, the Lions. Then it's back to Dallas. The Bears are back at home. Then it's over to LA for the Chargers. Then it's the Raiders back at home. Then we got Washington football at Washington, I believe. Yeah, and then we got to go to the Bills. We got to go to Buffalo this time in week 17, and then week 18 to end the season on Washington. So we'll go back to the beginning. So you go first if you like, just. And so week 1, the Cowboys are coming to town. It's the big kickoff. So we're going with a win. Yeah.
Big dub. We
I've
ain't
got
losing to the Cowboys when we're
no.
hanging our banner.
Yeah.
We're hanging a banner in front of Sugar Blue, as Rios likes to call it. Sugar Blue's going to have to watch us hang that Super Bowl banner, and Jerry Jones is going to have to watch us trot out that Lombardi Trophy, something he ain't seen
Oh
since like
man.
'95 or '96. We
Yeah.
ain't losing to the Cowboys.
No.
Ain't no
That
way we're
if
losing.
ever there is a must win. You know what I mean? You always look at like the
Yeah,
first game of the season. You know there's going to be rust, and if you lose, it's like okay, it's first game of the season. There's rust, and maybe they didn't place enough starters in the preseason, which the Eagles tend not to do these days, and they probably won't this year. But I think they should.
yeah.
So we'd be interested to see, especially after a Super Bowl win, how they gauge that. So yeah, Dallas, that's a must win. They cannot. If it was any other team, I would maybe give them the benefit of the doubt if they lose on banner night. But because it's the Cowboys, you cannot lose that game. They have to be ready. It's banner night, like you said, Super Bowl. Jerry Jones is going to be there. You've got to win that game. So I've got the Eagles as a win for that as well. So week 2 is the Super Bowl rematch. I think a lot of people would agree it's too early in the season for the Super Bowl rematch. I would rather it
Yep.
be maybe week 6 or week 7 or after the bye when you see how both teams are looking.
Yep.
I think it gives the NFL more time to promote it and more of a build up for the fans. But there we go. The way they've got this schedule for the Eagles this year is just like insane. No
Yeah.
back-to-back home games. It's just like ridiculous. But there we go. So week 2 at the Chiefs. So how we think that's going to fare, Just?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think that's our first loss of the season. I think we start out 1-1.
Yeah,
It's going to be tough. We always start out very slow, and if you look, like going back to what you said, where we don't play guys in the preseason and stuff, it seems like our offense really starts to click after week 4. Go figure, because we're treating the first 4 weeks of the season like our preseason.
yeah,
I think it'll be tough to get a win going into Kansas City. Kansas City is one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. It's one of the loudest venues in the NFL. That crowd's going to be fired up, focused, and prepared for the defending champs, the people who kept them from three-peating.
yeah.
I don't think they blow us out by any means, but
No,
I don't think we win that game. I think
no.
that's a loss.
Yeah, I think that's our first loss. It's just going to be, like we said, they're going to be more motivated. And we don't know what it's going to be too early for the defense, for the new guys on defense. You know what I mean? Like, we've lost pieces, obviously. And I think it's going to be too early for, we're not going to see the defense dominate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And that they've sort of like got more of a new offensive line as well this year. They've added a couple of guys. So unless they look really terrible, I don't think we're going to get to Patrick Mahomes like we did in the Super Bowl. And if you can't get to Patrick Mahomes, that's when he starts dinking
Yeah.
and dunking, and he kills the clock, and he can win. That's how he wins a game. So yeah, I think that's going to be our first loss as well, unfortunately. Week 3, the Rams are coming to town. They're going to be coming to Philly. It's a 1:00 game. I've got the Eagles down as a win. I think we bounce back and win that game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a bounce back week. Rams, I think it plays in our favor that it is a 1:00 game. I think I
Yeah,
heard the afternoon show talking about it, like the difference between wins and losses for West Coast teams coming to East Coast playing at 1:00 is a big factor.
yeah,
And I think that works in our favor. Even though the Rams are still kind of pissy about the fact that we wound up beating them to go to the NFC Championship game, I don't think they have enough. I think that's win number 2. Start at 2-1.
yeah. They haven't got Cooper Cup anymore.
And I think Devontae Adams is on the backside of 30. I don't think he was worth what they gave him either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do much with the Rams. I don't think
Nope.
he'll make 1 or 2 good catches throughout the year, but I don't think it'll be anything that will like help them get to the anywhere in the playoffs. And yeah, and Matthew Stafford's another year older. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And Jalen Carter, he's gonna want to eat on Matthew Stafford again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah. So Then we got week 4, and every flaming year we seem to have to play Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's
Early
the
in the
same.
season when it's hotter than 40
Yeah,
hells in Florida.
early. Didn't we play the Bucks like week 4 last season as well?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You know, got to
Why
play.
can't they come to Philadelphia?
Yeah, yeah. The last time they came to Philly was when It was Tom Brady's. I think Tom Brady's. I think it was the year they won the Super Bowl in
Maybe.
2021. I think, and
Maybe.
Zach Ertz had his like last touchdown with the Eagles. I think that
Or
was the
if
last
we're
time
going
they
to
came to
play them,
Philly.
let's play them in November in Florida.
Yeah.
Not in freaking September when it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity.
I just think I mean, it'll be interesting to see this time. Because when the Eagles did beat the Bucks the year before in 2023, the DeAndre Swift, when he had that big game, they were a full tilt then. You know what I mean? They had AJ, they had Devontae.
Yeah.
Last year when we had to go down there, I don't think we had Devontae or AJ Brown in that
Nope,
game.
they were both injured, and
Yeah.
I think was Lane out as well.
Yeah, Lane Johnson was out, so we
Yeah,
were relying on like Dallas and Saquon to have a big
yeah.
game, and nothing really got going. And
Mm-mm.
it was hot, like you said, it was hot as hell down there. It was a horrible game, and so we just got to hope this year it might be a bit different. But I've got a loss. I think that's going to be a loss. I just think no matter what Jalen does, this Todd Bowles just will make. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like it was last year. I think it's going to be closer because we got AJ, and hopefully we'll have a full healthy team. But I think they might beat us by like 1 touchdown or something. It's going to be a close game, but I think we will lose.
This is where we disagree, brother. I think Jalen's heard enough of Todd Bowles and heard enough about the Bucks and the hot weather
Yeah,
and me talk about why they're sending them down there in the hot heat and everything. I think we get a win. I think it's a close win, but I think Jalen gets that Bowles
yeah.
monkey off his back and he gets a win in Tampa. Three
Oh
and
man,
one.
I hope that's because it's if ever there's time to do it, is to do it now,
Yeah.
definitely. So yeah. So then it's week 5 back home, and we got the Broncos. So they looked okay last year. You know what I mean? They got a young quarterback. He seemed to find his rhythm late in the season. Got into the playoffs, and obviously they went straight out against the Bills. But that was expected. But I've got them bouncing back again and getting a win. And so that's a 1:00 game as well. So
Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
That's a mid like I guess mountain time team. So they're not 3 hours behind like the Rams would be, but they're still 2 hours behind.
yeah.
And the side note, a buddy of mine, the guy Matt Gorham is his name. He's from up Pennsylvania. He's a realtor up there, and he's the gentleman that got me the Super Bowl shirt and brung me
Oh
back
yeah,
the
that's right.
confetti from the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. He has invited me and Owen up to go see that game. So we will
Ooh.
be in the link probably October 5th, I think it is, to see the Eagles kick hell out of the Broncos. I think Bo Nix suffers a sophomore slump this year. I think
Possibly,
the
yeah.
Broncos are kind of down this year, and the Chargers take a little bit of an uptick this year in the West. But yeah, I think Eagles get that big dub
Oh,
because me and
nice.
Owen are in the house.
Well, just every time you've been to Philly, you've done well. So you know what I mean. So
but I'll goes to
that's
hell in
good.
a handcart afterwards. So
Yeah, it's just afterwards. But I was hoping you were going to go to Buffalo for the Bills game again, because last time you were at the Bills, we had a great win. So
buddy, I tell you what, I don't know if I could handle that cold up in Buffalo. It gets
oh
colder than
yeah,
I'll get out
that
up
is.
there, and it's going to be brutal that weekend.
Man, that could be a snow game possibly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You don't know, but yeah. So there we are. He's going to be out in Philly for that game, and he's going to help Jalen and the boys get the win. So the pressure's on you, big guy.
I
So
hope.
so then we got two away games coming up then just before the bye week. So this is a time now where the Eagles will need to stack wins. They're going to need to go on a little bit of a run, because obviously we know what's coming after the bye week. So they're at the Giants. It's Thursday night football, and I've got a win for Thursday night football. The Eagles have got a pretty good record on Thursday night football, and you know what I mean. That's going to be the Giants are going to be slightly better, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, he was okay with the Vikings last year. Obviously, he choked in the playoffs. But is Sam Darnold with the Giants? Yeah,
No,
he's with
he's
the
with
Giants.
the
No,
Seahawks. It's
no,
Russell
sorry,
Wilson.
Seahawks. No, I'm thinking, Russell Wilson, isn't it? Yeah, Russell Wilson is
Russell
with
Wilson,
the Giants.
James Winston,
Winston
and
and Jackson
didn't
Dart.
Jackson Dart. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be. I'm assuming Russell Wilson is obviously going to win the starting job. I mean,
Probably.
you got to. Yeah, I mean, you got to. So it's going to be interesting. We beat Russell Wilson last year in the Steelers game, and he didn't play too bad against us. You know what I mean?
No.
He wasn't awful. He had a bit of a resurgence last season for the Steelers. He wasn't awful. He wasn't great. He was sort of in the middle, but he looked a lot better than he did with than his time with the Broncos. So. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Eagles come out with a win.
Yep.
So you think the same?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So now this is a tough one. Following week they're at the Vikings. I've got the Eagles winning this game as well, but I think it's a 1:00 game, and the Vikings have got a lot of new pieces. What are they going to do a quarterback now? Who's going to be the starting quarterback? So it's going to be an interesting game, but I think the Eagles are going to go there, and I think they're going to fare quite well. I think it'll be like a not a blowout, but I think it'll be like a 15-point win, something like that.
That's another win, man. I think J.J. McCarthy's probably going to be the starter this year. He's coming off the torn ACL. It's basically going to be his rookie season.
His rookie season, yeah.
Yeah, I think the defense is going to be humming by then. The offense is going to be humming. I don't think J.J. McCarthy knows whether to shit or go blind when that defense gets lined up in front of him, and we're going to smack them.
Yeah. I think I'll sort of give a side early prediction. I think Jahad Campbell's going to have a big game in that. Right? I think that'll be a good time for him to show some flash. So if ever is a time to when the defense can show how good they could possibly be, or if they've grown, is that Vikings game. You know what I mean? So yeah. So then the following week it's back home to Philly and it's the Giants again. But this time it's a 1:00 game. I've got them losing that game. I just think it's something about that just makes me feel weird. I think we're gonna split with the whole division this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we'll split, and so yeah. I think
if we lose one to the Giants, I would be more apt to say we lose at the Giants than at home. So if I were to change and agree with you, I would say we would lose at the Giants going into Minnesota on Thursday night. But I think to this point we're looking at one loss right now.
Yeah. So that is the bye weeks, and obviously with my predictions, I got them at 5-3. Now that's not awful, you know what I mean? But it's obviously at that point we're probably as a fan base we would be the defense will probably need a bit of work, or there might be some parts that they're struggling, and so I've got them at 5-3. So it's not awful record, but it's obviously there'll be a bit of work somewhere that will need to be done. So then. Off the bye week, we got to go to Green Bay for the big Tush Push game. Now,
we ain't losing.
We can't. That's another must-win game. No matter what the record is, we could be, 0, not win any games up to that point. But that Packers game, that is a must-win. It's a big game. It's Monday Night Football. They're coming off the bye. They've had plenty of rest, plenty of preparation, plenty of time to get motivated, and you know what I mean. People are out there going, "I want to see the Tush Push ran as much as possible." But I don't think obviously that'll be a good reason, like we said, for them to find some motivation for that game. But you don't want to be making that the point on every play, every fourth down is going to be the Tush Push. You don't want to lose track of winning the game. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get too distracted, obviously. But yeah, that's a must win. And I think, everyone is just going to be up for that game. The defense is going to want to, eat on Jordan Love again. And, it's a big game. It's going to be a good game. But I think, I think the Packers are not going to be. I can't quite remember what the Packers did in the draft. Who they sort of took. They took a wide receiver, didn't they?
Yes,
Was
they
it
did
like,
in the first round. Yeah, that was the big thing. I forget who
yeah,
it was though. Oh shit,
I can't
I
remember
can't
his name. I
remember.
think he was from like Arizona State or somewhere. But he had like a big. He was. I think a lot of people think he was took a lot higher than he should have been. You know what I mean? People were like surprised at the pick.
I can't
Because
remember.
they haven't I think the Packers have like drafted a wide receiver in the first round for a long time. I think.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that
think
was
that was
that
the
was the
big.
big thing. That's the first
Yeah,
guy they took in the first round in like
yeah.
10, 15 years or something.
Yeah, and I don't think he doesn't look like he's going to make any like big splash. So I think the Packers are not going to be as good as maybe, I don't know if anyone else out there is thinking they're going to have a good year or whatever. I'm not sure, but I think that is a time where the Eagles just got to, you just got to go to town on the Packers. You know what I mean? Don't get too distracted with the tush push stuff, but obviously when the time comes to use it, and it more likely will be times, just shove it down their throat. You know what I mean? I just
Pause.
pause. Yeah. You don't want to do. Do you want to do a Jolly? I don't know if you heard Jolly and Spike's debate yet.
I didn't get to
Yet.
hear it yesterday. I need to go
Oh,
back and listen.
go back and listen. Go back and listen. So I listened to it this morning, and it was everything and more. You know what I mean? Like we've talked about how much we used to like Spike and Howard having the Sixers debates going back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, this was like to another level, and it was awesome. And at one point, Jolly said something about like I don't want to get too crude, but like he said something about he didn't want don't put something coming down Daryl Morey's throat. And Jack, Jack on the drop board, he snipped that straight away, and he plays it to Jolly at
Yeah.
the end, and like Jolly doesn't even he doesn't even notice like
He
what
doesn't realize it.
realize what he said. So it's a really good debate. So go back and watch it, or listen to it. Yeah, it was a fantastic debate. I was cracked up the whole time.
Oh, I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, it was great. So after the Eagles beat the Packers, it's week 11, starting to get deep into the season now, and it's Lions Sunday Night Football. I've got us as winning that game as well, but I think it's going to be a really tight, close game. Could possibly go to overtime, like the Buffalo Bills game a couple of years back. So I think I know the Lions are going to be without Ben Johnson, and so possibly maybe they take a bit of a back step. Possibly, I'm not sure, but they've still got a good offensive team. Their defense is going to be, fully healthy, I think, more or less. Aiden Hutchinson should be back, I think.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really interesting game. There's going to be a lot of hype. And but I think we just squeak out the win, but I think it could come in overtime. How do you feel about that game, Jess?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a very tight game. Detroit replacing both their offensive and defensive coordinators this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to duplicate what they done last year. And what they done last year was they did it with a ton of injuries, like a
Yeah.
ton of injuries. They were the
Yeah.
most injured team in the league. But yeah, I think the Lions take a bit of a step back this year. I don't think they win the NFC North, but I do think they're still a playoff team. But yeah, I think it's another win. Hello, I think, God, man, I was sitting here thinking 12-5, and I've only got us with one loss. Hell, are we going to have a damn drop off like we did in 23?
I know that's what I'm saying, man. I'm trying to go a bit. I'm trying not to go like too.
I may change
Get,
my mind on the Bucks game. The
yeah,
more I
I'm trying
think
not to get
about
too
it.
excited here. I'm trying to not be like a Debbie Downer, be like too But it's just I just think
The,
certain moments in certain games could catch us by surprise, and that's where the
the
losses will
thing with the
come.
Lions, though, that like you said, that I'm going back to, they're replacing offensive, defensive coordinator. It's going to be in Philadelphia. It's going to be Sunday night.
Yeah,
Jared Goff does not do well in the elements that late in the season. It's probably going to be colder in Philadelphia. So how does Goff do in the cold, in
yeah,
impossible elements? So
yeah,
that's why more than anything I'm leaning Eagles. So yeah, I may have to flip my pick on that Bucks
yeah.
game.
You think of like when we do lose a game, it's obviously, the other team at the end of the day have played better than us in that game. But the games we tend to lose is when we tend to like shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we're not doing enough on offense. You know what I mean? We're not calling the right plays, and the
Yep.
defense are too, the defense have missed tackles, or they're too slow to get into the tackles and things like that. You know what I mean? It's a case of we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So, you know what I mean? That's the only way I see, us losing these games. Obviously, is, we'll do what we do and we'll shoot ourselves in the foot. But
Yep.
hopefully that won't happen too much. But anyway, so after the Lions, we're going back to Dallas. That's a 4:25 game. So over here in the UK, that's 9:30 p.m. for me.
Mm.
So not too late, but it will finish late. But I'll be up watching that one live. Because it's Dallas, you got to watch the Cowboys live. You can't miss that.
Yeah.
Like the opening game of the season when Dallas come to Philly, I've booked that off work the following morning already, so I could stay up and watch that live. Because I'm like, it's banner night. I can't miss opening. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you can't miss opening game.
no. So, but I think we go to Dallas, and obviously it's deep into the season at this point. We don't know what we're doing our early predictions, but I think we lose that game.
I do too.
I think we lose down in Dallas.
We always have a tough time in Dallas. It seems like these last few
Yeah,
years. So
yeah,
right now, this will unless I flip my Bucks pick, this is my official second loss of the season.
right. Yeah, that's not a bad record. That's a really good record. So so yeah, I think we lose down to Dallas. I don't think Dallas are going to be as bad, but still don't think they'll take too much of a step up. I think Dak is coming back from injury, so it'll be interesting to see what he looks like. They got a new head coach. I don't have much faith in that what's his name, Doug Nussmeier.
Doug Nussmeier.
Yeah, I don't have too much faith in him. He looks like a bit of a stiff. So I don't know. Like, so yeah. Week 13 then it's the Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson, the new offensive guru darling of the league. He's coming to town with Caleb Williams. I don't know. It's a tough one with the Bears. I really don't know what they're going to look like. So it depends if he gets them rolling early, and he's got them well organized, and he turns out to be a good head coach. Then I think the Bears can fare well, and they could end up winning their division. You know what I mean? If the Lions take a step back. But I've still got us winning that game.
I got to win too.
It's Black Friday. It's a 3 p.m. game. It's going to be a fun game. But I don't think it's going to be a mega blow, but I think the Eagles will win comfortably. You know what I mean? By 10, 15 points. You know what I mean? I think that'll be a good win for the Birds. And so then week 14, the LA Chargers, we've got to go to LA. I've got us winning that one as well. I know a lot of people out there have got us losing to the Chargers, but depending on, obviously, it's early days, like I said, depending on what they look like, it's getting deep into the season. I just don't have faith in Justin Herbert and
Jim
Harbaugh. Coach. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh. I know he was good with Michigan and what have you, and he won the national championship with them and this, that, and the other. But I've never rated him as I don't know. There's just something about it. And after seeing what they looked like in the playoffs last year against Houston, that was an awful game to watch. And Justin Herbert, you know what I mean? He chokes at the most, like in a, not the good time. So I think it's down in LA again. The Eagles, tend to fare well when we go down to LA. We've got a big fan base. A lot of fans are going to be there. A lot of Eagles fans will be there. So I think we win that game.
I agree. That's another win. We usually take over that stadium because Rams and Charger fans sucks. It's a travesty that the NFL took the Chargers away from San Diego. LA does not need nor deserve two NFL teams. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that stadium's probably going to be 50-50 with Chargers and Eagle fans, and we're always more vocal and louder than anybody else in the daggone place. So, yeah, I think we win again.
Yeah, I think people only are going to take the Chargers in that game because of the whole Justin Herbert thing, because of his mechanic.
What time is that game?
It's Monday Night Football.
Oh, yeah, we're going. Yeah. If it was a Sunday at 1:00, I might, that would still be, well, no, they wouldn't do that. Hell, it'd have to be a 4:00 game because it's West Coast. Yeah, we're going to win. It's Monday Night Football. We ain't losing on Monday night.
it's sort of like a mini bye week as well that week
Yeah.
because we're playing on Black Friday the week before 3 p.m.
Yep.
So they get a good break then, plenty of time to prepare and rest, and then fly down to LA. You know what I mean? Have a bit of time down there. So it's a good time to play the Chargers. And like I said, I think people only pick Justin Herbert in that game because it's Justin Herbert. As bad as I don't think he's been that great the last 2 years. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
people still will take him over Jalen in a game. They will. You watch when it comes down to
It's
that
because of
point.
his arm strength. People are
Yeah,
wowed and blown away at his arm strength. I
yeah.
get it, but I mean,
But he doesn't
does
win. You know what
no,
I mean? He doesn't win. Jalen
he doesn't
wins.
have the
So
intangibles.
no, exactly. So yeah, that's the only reason I think people pick Chargers for that game. So then week 15, Geno Smith is coming to town with his new team, the Las Vegas Raiders, and it'd be nice to get a win against Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting to see what they look like paired back up together. I think the Raiders will be a little bit better.
yeah.
Obviously, they picked the running back.
Ashton Genty.
Yeah, from Boise State in the draft. I think he's going to have a good rookie season. But I think the Eagles take that game as well. I think we win that game as well. So 1 o'clock game, maybe. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of a mini bye after that as well
Yeah,
because it's Monday night. No, actually, it's Monday night football against the Chargers. So then, no, yeah, they get a day less rest, don't they? So
yeah,
it's sort of be like a short week actually. Yeah, so it might be that might be a game like it was last season with the Carolina Panthers.
yeah.
We were expecting
Tough
Eagles.
game.
Sloppy. And they just do enough to get the win. You know what I mean? Because it's a shorter week, and I think it'll be a possible sort of trap game. But I think we just edge out and we get the win in that game. So then this is where I think depending on how we look in, I think these are the next two games. We're at Washington. It's on the fixtures. It's going to be either a 4 o'clock game or an 8 o'clock game, depending on obviously if they move other games around and stuff like that. But I've got us losing down in Washington, and then
I agree.
yeah, I think it's just going to be. It's December 20th, and last season we played Washington just before Christmas. Jalen got the concussion, and Kenny Pickett came into that game. He threw a good touchdown to AJ Brown, then Saquon broke off that big run, but then we ended up blowing it in the second half of the game. And so I just it's a similar time, and I just think we lose that game. Now
I agree.
week 17. This was tough because I sort of didn't know where to go with this because obviously it's another one where it depends how we're both looking at the time. It could be a meaningless game, but I don't get the NFL's reasoning for putting us going to Buffalo week 17 in December. It's going to be cold as hell. It's like, that type of game, that's a big primetime game. It's going to draw a lot of numbers. I don't get why they're putting it so late into the season. I know it's around Christmas and maybe they think it'd be a good game just after Christmas before the New Year's, but it's, hopefully by this point in the season, it'll be the Eagles will have won the NFC East and, and we might have locked up the second seed or the 1 seed, you know what I mean? So it's a tough one, but I think we lose down in Buffalo as well.
I think we lose 2 straight.
Yeah.
I think we lose at Washington and at Buffalo.
Yeah. And the only way I'm going to be happy is if we take those 2 L's, is if obviously we've locked everything up and there's no need. But I think by that point, I don't quite think we'd have locked. I think hopefully we'd have locked up the NFC East, but obviously it's still, hopefully we have. But I don't think we will have locked up, the 1, 2, or 3 seed in the NFC. I think we'll still be fighting possibly for one of those. So it'll be a tough couple of losses. And then obviously we got Washington again then to finish off the year. And I think we win that game. I think we beat Washington at home. Whether it's a game where both teams rest their starters or we have to play our starters. I think we win that game. I think we're going to be up for that game at the end of the year. Yeah.
Agree. I think we finish off the regular season with a win against Washington. at home. Probably wind up with the 2 seed, but I think I've got us at 4 losses right now.
Yeah,
So we lose at Washington, at Buffalo, at Dallas, and at Kansas City. Yeah, I that could get us the 1 seed, dude. 4 losses.
yeah,
I mean, it very well could get us the 1 seed. The only reason we didn't have the 1 seed was what? Detroit only lost 2 games last year or 3. I
yeah,
mean, it's tough. So hell yeah, I take 13-4. I was
yeah.
looking at 11-6, 12-5. Hell, I'm gonna go 13-4 right now.
13-4.
Lock
Whoosh.
it in.
That's good. That is good. Yeah, but I've got us 11-6. So yeah, it might not be quite enough to obviously lock everything up, but hopefully it's obviously dependent. You know, the Cowboys and the Giants are going to be a little bit better this year. It'd be interesting with Washington because obviously with Washington it's the whole Jaden Daniels thing, and
Yeah,
he's got Debo Samuel now. But they've lost some key guys as well. You know what I mean? A lot of their team has gotten a bit older. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they look. I still think they'll be good because Jaden Daniels is just. I don't think he needs like a star wide receiver or top guy. He's just good at finding, making the ball go where it needs to go. So it's going to be interesting. Like obviously the Eagles are going to be on Hard Knocks in
yeah.
season
Well, the
this
whole
year.
NFC East is.
Yeah, the whole NFC East, and
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to like the Eagles on there, the NFL and the HBO, because the Eagles are going to keep it. They're not going to do what the Giants did.
Yeah,
They're going to keep everything very tight.
it's
They're
gonna
not
be
going to.
locked down.
Yeah, it's going to be locked down. They did the same when they were on Amazon after they won the Super Bowl. They were on
Yep.
Amazon Prime and that's they kept everything quite locked down. They weren't, they didn't really give a lot away. You know what I mean? So that I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna regret putting the NFC East on it.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I think we'll get some comedy out of the Cowboys because Jerry Jones always says stupid things.
He wants to be in the limelight. He
Yeah, yeah,
does.
yeah. He's going to say some stupid things like he always does. So, I mean, we'll get some comedy out of it, but the Eagles are going to lock everything down. They're all about the business, and yeah,
Look for this too. We were talking about the Giants and Russell Wilson probably coming out being their starter this year. If he does win that starting job, and they're relatively healthy, you've got Jackson Dart. They traded up to get him in the first round. The Saints, Derek Carr retired. So
yeah,
look for maybe the Saints to maybe try to offer them a deal to get Jameis Winston down in New Orleans because he's been there before.
yeah,
He's played there. They need a quarterback. They have no quarterback. So, I
no,
mean, they don't need Jameis Winston holding up Jackson Dart getting any playing time in case Russell Wilson gets injured. Or
yeah,
vice versa. Say Winston beats out Russ. I don't see
yeah,
that happening, but I would have Jackson Dart be my number 2 quarterback.
yeah.
Everything they've done in the offseason has just baffled me, but nothing that organization does should baffle
No,
me. But like
yeah,
having all those quarterbacks, it's just
yeah.
ridiculous.
They
But
still got Tommy DeVito on the books as well.
yeah,
So you know
that's
what I
what
mean?
I'm saying. You could trade Jameis for if you
Yeah,
could get a fifth for him from the Saints or something like that or whatever, and then make DeVito your third emergency backup quarterback.
yeah,
Do that. You don't
yeah,
need all those guys. You
yeah,
you Jackson Dart is a first round pick, and if you're sucking, if you guys are going down the tubes and you suck, you know, well, I take that back. I started to say you want to get Dart out there to see what you got in him, but if you're really that bad, you don't want to put him out there and stunt his growth, as a young quarterback. So, but yeah, there's no way I would keep both Russ and Jameis. If there's a team that thinks they can make the playoffs and they suffer a quarterback injury in the preseason or something like that, I would be listening to deals for one of those two guys. I
yeah.
really would.
And Jameis Winston, he'd fit in with Kellen Moore's type of offense that he's going to want to run. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
yeah, that would, if I was the Giants, I would do that because they're going to need something. So
Yep.
yeah, so we'll leave it there for today. And obviously, I've been teasing a while that we're going to do a Vols pod. So next week we're going to do we'll probably focus. Hopefully, it'll be a quiet week in Philadelphia sports. And every time we say that, something happens, and we're
Something
gonna have to
happens.
talk about this instead. So I've been teasing and promising a Vols pod for a while. So next week now, me and Just we're gonna get together. We're gonna talk around. I need some educating on volunteers. So I've been watching as much highlights as I can with the Vols baseball team. Obviously, I watched a lot of Vols football last year, so we'll talk about the state of of the Tennessee Volunteers and how Just feels for the football team next year, and obviously the baseball team at the moment they're in the SEC
SEC
tournament.
right now.
Yeah, they beat a good win against Alabama. So they
got Texas today. Texas probably the best team in the country right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough. But I'll be rooting for the Vols and who's starting on the mound?
Liam Doyle, possibly
my guy Liam Doyle.
the number one pitching prospect in college baseball right now.
From what I've watched of him so far, he is a nasty guy on the mound.
He is a bulldog, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he's nuts.
He is fantastic. Yeah, he's full of. He's got great personality and stuff as well.
He's full of piss and vinegar, is what we like to say.
Yeah. He's made for Tennessee, man. Oh my God,
he's a tough kid. He is.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a Vols baseball pod and football pod coming next week, and we'll touch back on the Phillies as well a little bit, see how they're getting on, and so yeah, just have a good weekend. Enjoy the baseball down in Atlanta. And
that's next weekend. I told you wrong. I looked at it. It's next weekend. I was looking at my schedule wrong. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll figure. Maybe we'll probably the week after then. Maybe when you get back, we might
be able to do it next Friday or something like that. We'll work it out. Possibly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work it out. There we are. Great stuff. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. The Tush Push is here to stay for now, and I don't think they should waste their time voting on it again. They're just going to keep embarrassing themselves. The brotherly shove. The Tush Push is here. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching and supporting us. We appreciate it. Like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and so you can enjoy our shows. And it's been a good one, fella. Take care.
Been fun.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Go Vols. Love y'all. Mean it.